What's up, everybody? It's your favorite show, Get a Bucket. I'm your host, Trey, and as usual, hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful day. Today, we're going to talk about the NBA Conference Finals losers. But before we do that, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, comment, tell anyone about the show. Trying to get the ratings up a little bit, just a little bit. And if you wonder where you heard this before, that's because you've been listening with me Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I greatly appreciate your support. But let's go ahead and talk about the two teams that lost in the conference finals. Yes, we understand that the Knicks and the Spurs are going to the finals. But we can still talk about the teams that lost. So let's start off with the Eastern team, which is the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, I expected the Cavs to actually lose, okay? I genuinely did. Was it a bad loss to the Knicks? I think so. And keep in mind, right, it was a sweep, okay? That means they didn't win any games at all. And the telling game was, in fact, game one. When you're up 22 points, 27 points, whatever the number was, and the Knicks go on a 44-11 run. That's bad. Keep in mind, your star player, your best player, is, in fact, Donovan Mitchell. And he's 30 years old, and this was his first conference finals. And it generated a sweep. And he wasn't the one that was sweeping people. Like, that's bad. That's tough. I consistently say that Donovan Mitchell is a shaky star, meaning you won't win a championship with him as the best player on your team. But at the same breath, ladies and gentlemen, I can't quite say that this loss was on Donovan Mitchell. It just proved my point even more so. He's not going to be the guy to get you over the hump as a first option. Maybe a second option, but not a first. Now, keep in mind, versus the Knicks, he actually performed on par with his regular season statistically. He was more efficient, although the free throw numbers did mess up a little bit. But he did do his thing. 27 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2.5 steals, 0.5 blocks. So it's workable numbers for sure, especially when you're the number one option on the team. I also can't say, though, because other people, I've made this statement before that Donovan Mitchell is a shaky star, and I keep hearing, well, Donovan Mitchell just didn't have any help. Okay, well, I can't quite say that he didn't have help this season or postseason. James Harden did okay during the regular season, could have done better, but did okay. Didn't do the best versus the Knicks for sure. Like, underperformed like a mug. I'm telling you that right now. Like, subpar performance. And I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, he did okay in terms of numbers, but the efficiency wasn't there. The game wasn't there. The aggression, like the defense is never there. And you got to base some of this on the contract that he's gotten. Not to mention, too, he's viewed as, the second, maybe third option on the team. He was brought in to be that role as well, too. So definitely a subpar performance. Evan Mobley, I've already said this. If the Cavs want to win a championship, he has to be their best player, and he's still not the best player on his team. Now, the good thing to note is that Evan Mobley is only 24 years old, so we're about 2 years away from him entering his prime, and it does take bigs about 5 years to develop, and we are at that 5th year. So, I mean, maybe next season he improves. You definitely need to improve them free throws, though. Jeez, God. That is horrendous. 55% from the free throw line versus the Knicks. That's not helping your case out, champ. Also, I would like to see you start cracking about 2 blocks a game if you can. 1.5 versus the Knicks, 1.8 during the regular season. That's wonderful. That's cool. You have more potential than that, personally. Jared Allen. All right, I wish you had a little bit more motor, right? I understand you're an undersized center, and sometimes I do wonder, should the Cavs look to move on from you? Personally. But again, ladies and gentlemen, this Cavs team, while I will say it did not make, I'm not really confident about these Cavs. Let's just talk about it. So off top, they still have the same small forward issues. Like, they still exist. They ain't got a good one. They got okay ones. But for real, they're not worth mentioning in terms of a starter role. Like, you could bring in a Dean Wade, sure, but Dean's more of a spot-up guy. He did okay against Cade, But that's also because, hell, the Pistons still are trying to figure out, well, who can we get to complement Cade? I think they got Jalen Duren, cool. I think Jalen may try to figure some things out over the next couple seasons or so. Denias Jenkins did all right, but I think he's more of a six-man personally going forward. So when Dean Wade is guarding Cade, well, guess what? I mean, he's doing okay. Cade also snapped a good part of that series as well, too. So he only did, but so much. So, like, who's your small forward? They ain't got one. Then I'm thinking about the Cavs going forward, the future of the Cavs, because reportedly, hell, they're trying to keep Donovan Mitchell and James Harden for long-term deals. And when you hear that, you may be wondering, could they look to move Evan Mobley, as he's the youth piece on this team, to try to acquire someone like a Giannis? Or maybe you get rid of Jared Allen and try to bring in someone like Miles Turner. I don't know what they look to do. But again, when I'm thinking about the future of this team moving forward, I'm not sold on the Cavs. We still got the Celtics, the Knicks, and the Pistons, who I believe will be definitively better than this Cavs team. And then next season, we got to look at teams like the Hawks, like the Wizards, like the Hornets, and like the Heat, because they could end up being better than the Cavs. So that's a lot of teams. That's 7 teams right there to just worry about if I'm the Cavs. And again, this season deemed them not good enough. Given the team, given the NBA's dynamic, right? Think about it. The Cavs were healthy most of the season. Other teams weren't. They weren't as fortunate. And mind you, you need some luck to win the championship for sure. You do. We can say that the Thunder were lucky that the Nuggets were injured. Hell, or even that the Spurs were injured, because the Spurs could have potentially gone to the playoffs, and who knows what would have happened. Like, there are so many things that factor in that are quote-unquote lucky. The Cavs had all that fortune roll their way. They ended up getting to the conference finals. Cool, so I'm glad that they did what they were supposed to do. Kudos. But again, you get swept. Like, I personally believe and say stars get you one, meaning your star players should be able to be good enough to get you at least one game. That should be able to, in the playoffs, that should be able to tell you their value and that they're worth it. Because sometimes good players just go up against good teams. Shout out Michael Jordan when he went up against the daggone Celtics. Keep in mind, lost in the first round, but he got swept. There was a lot less games back then there are nowadays. So if you lose 3 games, heard you. Typically, people win a game after that third game, after 3 games losing. Typically. And the Cavs couldn't do that. Matter of fact, they lost a lead. That's indicative of your stars. So again, when everything kind of went your way, one, you didn't dominate during the regular season. If we're being honest, I still believe y'all should have lost to the Pistons. But you made it out there. I'm not going to go into that too much. Just saying that was my personal belief. Not just expectation, but belief based on what I saw during the game. I don't think they're good enough. So starting next season, I do expect them to fall off a little bit, especially as teams start to get better. And especially as the Cavs start to get a little older. Now, they could acquire some two-way wings. They could. What happens if they get LeBron James, right? Well, my question is, what happens to James Harden then? Now, I'm talking about role, because clearly he's going to stay. But in terms of paper, Braun may have to take a pay cut. And then also I'm wondering about Braun. Should he be more defensive-minded? Yeah, he showed that he can still somewhat carry a team, be a quality option for sure. So maybe with the Cavs, paired with Donovan Mitchell, who would be the one option. But then James Harden, Braun, y'all the playmakers. And James respectfully ain't a defender. Donovan respectfully, he's okay. I wouldn't classify him as a defender. So again, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if that would be a good idea. Although it could work for sure, at least on paper. I have to see how it looks, because Donovan Mitchell and James Harden as a duo, I still don't like. Now, if the Bucks want Evan Mobley and they're willing to give up Giannis for him, okay, cool. But now I'm starting to wonder, Well, one, what else are the Cavs going to give up? Because that's not a fair trade for me if I'm a Bucks fan. But also, right, what happens if Giannis and Jared are on the same team? What's their fit like together? I don't know if they're going to be able to fit together personally. So that's just me. Andrew Wiggins. Now, Andrew Wiggins is an ideal fit, ladies and gentlemen. I think he would have to not have to. Would he turn down that $30 million player option that he has with the Miami Heat? That's going to be a questionable thing right there. But going back to the team that initially drafted him number one, I think that honestly, I always thought the Cavs never should have got rid of Andrew Wiggins personally. They should have rocked with Braun, Kyrie, and Andrew Wiggins, get it popping with some other bigs and call it a day. But here we are now. Andrew Wiggins is a quality 15 to 20 point per game scorer, and he can defend. He can move them puppies. He's fairly athletic, and he's still not considered old. He's older for sure, but he's not old. So I think you can work with him. Now, somebody who is old, Chris Middleton, I think too old. He was injured. I need him to be a defender. And Chris not really a defender to me. He's more like a spacer nowadays, like a role player, if you will. So I don't know about Chris Middleton, but I can understand if they try to get him. Tobias Harris, similar thing. Interesting fit. Could fit in terms of the window that you need for the James Harden and Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley window championship-wise. But does he get the job done? I don't know. Because, again, we just saw what he did on this Pistons team. Worked well versus the Magic. The rest of the series, he looked a little subparish. And I'm a big Toby fan, to be clear. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the Cavs, I'm not really sold on them next year. I'm really, truly not. So, should they run it back or should they look to make a trade? I say run it back only because they got to the conference finals, but keep in mind, I'm not going to be mad if they can make a trade. I just don't know at this point in time what that trade would look like because, again, it may end up being that they need to trade Donovan Mitchell. That's just me personally. But, again, also say, too, I don't blame the loss all on him. It was a team loss for sure. And I don't say that Donovan Mitchell was the reason why they lost. I'm just saying that he's not the reason why they won either. Now, I'm talking about one game. But, again, I'm curious what you all think about the Cavs losing. Was it your expectation? Was it a bad loss? Let me know. But we're going to stop talking about the Cavs. We're going to talk about the Thunder, which weirdly enough, the Thunder could actually be a shorter conversation than the Cavs conversation, to be honest, because it's very simple. Should they run it back or should they make a trade? This is the defending champs who just lost Game 7 to a Victor Wembanyama-led Spurs, and the Spurs have actually been hooping. Off top, the Spurs beat the brakes off the Thunder during the regular season, 4-1? So the series easily leaned the Spurs. And you lose in a Game 7, a close Game 7, where two of your better players aren't playing multiple games. You got to run it back respectfully. Like all the people who talk about SGA flopping, right? You got to put a question mark and an asterisk by that word flopping. Because, one, he's gaming the refs a little bit. But two, Buddy is hooping. You don't average 30-plus points per game for 4+ seasons or for 4 seasons and potentially going to do it again next year and do it all on flopping. You don't. You don't. There's a bunch of highlights and a bunch of clips out there that have shown that SGA can hoop and it's not just foul baiting. So please, let's cut that narrative. Does he get fouled? Yes. Does he sometimes sell it? Yes. But we're going to run it back with the same system for sure. Maybe not the same players, but a good amount of players they're going to run it back with. The person who does need to be under more of a microscope right now is, in fact, Chet Holmgren. Because I'm hearing people saying, well, should we trade Chet Holmgren? No, I think he need to have higher growth expectations for himself. Think about it. During the regular season, Chet's averaging 17 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 0.6 steals, 1.9 blocks on 56, 36, 79 splits. Those are very respectable numbers, okay? During the Spurs run, he averaged 11 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 0.7 steals, 1.1 blocks on, I don't even know what the percentages were. They were that horrendous, bro. It was like 51%, 27%, 77%. So it's still kind of close-ish. But remember that we're losing 6 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, gaining a little bit on steals, and then losing almost a block. That's a lot. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's kind of bad. And also, if we look at what Wemby was doing, Wemby was dominating, very dominant. And some fans look at Chet as Wemby-like. Wemby light. Like, you should be able to do something similar. And that's not what we saw from Wemby. Like, we didn't see 11.7 rebounds. We saw much more. Easily like 25 and 12, something like that, or 9 or 8 or something like that. But he was much more dominant. And I'm not asking you to be dominant, Chet. I'm asking you to be present. And the numbers you gave were not really present given your talent ability. If we were talking about Hartenstein, sure, I'll take these. These aren't bad. But you're a Chet Holmgren who was drafted number 2 overall. We're expecting a little bit more out your champ. And not even just statistically. Hell, just be present. Like, Alex Caruso did a better job versus Wemby than you did. Also, Jalen Williams. Is he injury prone? Regular season, he played 33 out of 82 games. It's not even half the season. Postseason, he played 4 games out of 15. Almost it's a little bit more than 25%. That's part of the reason why I say this was a decent loss. Again, I predicted that the Thunder were going to lose, but also Jalen Williams not playing. One, he didn't play for the majority of the season, and they were still the number 1 team in the NBA record-wise. But still, he was a big piece, and I wonder if he had played, would the Thunder have eventually won? So that's the reason why I'm saying you can run it back next season. Chet can be in that third option. But Chet, you still got to show up. You still got to produce more than what you gave personally. Now, the big thing is Isaiah Hartenstein, Lou Dort, Cason Wallace. Will any of those players be gone next season due to budget cuts? Because I don't know if the Thunder are going to want to go into the luxury tax. I don't know. Because they can get very close to doing so. I'm telling you that right now. They have a lot of people. They have a lot of depth. They're going to have to start paying folk. And going forward, I'm wondering, too, do they need more forwards? Because they are pretty daggone guard heavy. Like, think about it. A.J. Mitchell, Jared McCain. You're eventually, if I'm the Thunder, you're going to have to pay them eventually. You're going to have to pay them. I'd personally do so. So are you going to need more forwards? Because them boys are about 6'3", 6'4" right there. SGA 6'6". Jalen Williams 6'5", 6'6". So, like, you got some forwards there technically by height, but SGA your point guard. Again, ladies and gentlemen, do they need more forwards? I think they could use some. And then when we're talking about future aspects and future expectations of this Thunder squad, should they run it back? I think so. I think they can actually win another championship within 3 seasons at minimum. Could be next season. Could be the season after that. 3rd season from now. Like, they have that type of chemistry. And the only team right now that's really in their way is, in fact, the Spurs. The Nuggets, you got to put a question mark around because you got to see what they do. Jamal Murray, we got to wait and see what happens. The Wolves, we got to wait and see what happens with them and Julius Randle. Does McDaniels improve? What happens with Rudy Gobert? They made some improvements, I think. Are they better than the Thunder? We got to wait and see that one. The Rockets, I want to see how Fred VanVleet comes back, and also can they get their team chemistry together. My Lakers, question mark, because we got to wait and see what we're going to do with Braun, Austin Reeves. I don't expect us to. That's another discussion for another day. Warriors, what do they do with Jimmy, with KP? There's some question marks around those. But those are the only teams that I even say are even going to make any noise versus the Thunder. You could try to argue the Jazz, but I got to wait to see what the Jazz look like personally. I personally got to wait to see what that looked like. But the Thunder can easily win the championship in the next 3 seasons. So, again, this was more sufficient. I know I told y'all about the Cavs and how everything went right for them. A lot of things actually went fairly wrong for the Thunder this season. And again, they almost made it to the NBA Finals after having a target on their back for the majority of the season. And they were the number 1 team in the NBA record-wise. And you go to a Game 7 yet again. You barely won through a Game 7 versus the Pacers prior year, but then you lost in a Game 7. Very close wins and losses right there. And remember, there was no Jalen Williams most of the season and playoffs. No A.J. Mitchell for about, 3 games? versus the Spurs. And A.J. Mitchell's a hooper, ladies and gentlemen. A.J. Mitchell, you truly do need on the squad, especially if you're the Thunder team, because he can relieve Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in moments, but also he can complement and play alongside SGA too. So that's something to focus on as well too, ladies and gentlemen. I think they don't need to change much, to be honest with you. Maybe if they want to adjust some numbers, like budgeting wise, sure, heard you. But as a roster, yeah, they're cool. They're cool. Now, here's some things that I would consider if I'm them. I mean, hell, if y'all want to give me Jokic, sure. Like, I'll take that. But realistically, Giannis, you would have to lose Chet. Now, I'm curious about Giannis and SGA pairing, just because Giannis don't space the floor out that much. Then also, what are you going to do with Hartenstein? I'd have to look and see how that goes. I know how it looks on paper, but I also was kind of worrisome of Giannis and Dame Lillard pairing up a couple seasons ago. I'm a little bit weary of that pairing as well, too. But again, you would have to lose Chet for sure. And if I'm the Bucks, respectfully, I'm taking some picks, and I'd probably have to try to snag some folk, too. Because I'm giving up Giannis. I got to get some people. And then also, I would consider Anthony Davis if he weren't so injury prone. I'm telling you right now, I would genuinely look to trade Chet, because if you're talking about right now, I think AD is he has a better chance of guarding Victor Wembanyama than Chet does, even though he's shorter than Chet. And that's crazy. But he has more athleticism, much more athleticism than Chet. I think he's actually stronger than both Wemby and Chet, too. So that factors in as well. And I ain't going to lie to you, I think Wemby would have to work a little bit harder to score and defend against Anthony Davis. But again, AD's too injury prone. He's also new on the Wizards. They may try to see if it works with him, but hell, who knows? If they can get Chet Holmgren, pair Chet with Alex Sarr, and give I know maybe the Wizards would be interested in that. But ladies and gentlemen, that's all I consider in terms of the Thunder. Like, off of a realistic trade, I can't think of anybody who would even be available that I'd want to consider. I wouldn't do Sabonis. Like, I wouldn't bring on Sabonis, personally. That's just me, though. It could be a little interesting. Now, it could be interesting, actually. But they'd have to give up Chet, and I don't know if I'd give up Chet for Sabonis, personally. Because, again, Sabonis and Hartenstein, I don't really think works as an option, but that's another discussion for another day. Lauri Markkanen, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm trying to give up Chet for Lauri, even though I think Lauri is the second option on a championship team. That could be another discussion, but I would like to keep Chet if I could, so maybe lose Hartenstein. Maybe that can work out, but I'd have to see if the Jazz would be willing to do that personally. But again, that's another discussion for another day. But all in all, the Thunder do not need to make any trades. So again, ladies and gentlemen, I expect the Thunder to run it back next season and the season after that, and the season after that, maybe a few tweaks, but that's about it. But overall, ladies and gentlemen, that does conclude the end of the episode. So I'm curious, what were your thoughts about the Cavs losing and the Thunder losing? Did you expect it? Do you think these were bad losses or good losses? Let me know your thoughts. Hell, let me know your thoughts about each player on the team, or how you like the team to begin with. I'm curious, because I have heard notions about the Cavs. I have heard notions about the Thunder, like, the Thunder play bad basketball. I have heard that, so I'm curious your thoughts. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that does conclude the end of the episode. So please make sure to like, subscribe, comment, tell anyone about the show. My name is Trey. I'm the host of Good Bucket. I hope you're all having a good one. I'm about to go watch this game 1 of the NBA Finals today. So take care.